Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and I'm using this article from CNET as a placeholder. I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So I wanted to recap / summarize my trip over the weekend. For those of you who saw the testing videos, those were some of the areas that I tested. I still got another video to upload for you guys and do a voiceover. But I wanted to summarize the trip, so this might be a bit of a longer video. I wanted to kind of do it from start to finish, starting with the flight, with the in-flight Wi-Fi, and then kind of just move on from there. So starting with the in-flight Wi-Fi, the reason I have this article pulled up with the whole SpaceX T-Mobile partnership and the first satellite in orbit, I fully feel that the way that the in-flight Wi-Fi performed on American Airlines flight is very similar how this satellite to direct cell is going to behave. Besides calling, I do fully expect that whatever T-Mobile is doing with SpaceX is going to lead to actually being able to place a call. That's something that you can't do at this time on a in-flight Wi-Fi on an airplane. Now, you can probably use like a third party to make that happen if there's enough bandwidth, but I highly doubt it. It's a great experience. I didn't even try that, to be honest. I didn't even try to place a call because I just felt like it wouldn't have worked, or it wouldn't have been a pleasant experience. But I was saying to myself while I was using the service, I believe it was Interslat or whatever it's called. That's who the provider was at that time during the flight. I was saying to myself, okay, this must be how T-Mobile and SpaceX / Starlink are envisioning the services to work. So I was able to text no problem. I was able to do SMS texting, and I was able to do iMessage texting without any issue. Like, it was sending instantly and I was getting messages back instantly. Now, I know during the beta, Elon Musk said that it might take like 30 minutes to get that text out, but that'll be fixed. That won't be, it'll be, when it's all said and done, it will send just as quickly as you would on a regular tower connection. And that's what I've experienced with the in-flight Wi-Fi. It was quick. Now, MMS and sending picture messages, that took a long time. That wasn't like a minute, 2, 3. No, that took like 5, 10 minutes, sometimes even longer. So that's a more, I guess you can say, data intensive task. Now, I'm not saying it's like super huge, but it takes more data to send a picture than it would to send a text message. So that took a while, but I was able to send some and receive some. So, and actually, if I'm being honest, I had a better time receiving pictures, like them loading quicker than I was to send them. So just to throw that in there. So that was a pleasant experience. Now, video playback, that one is a no-go. I tried that. Like, there is no reasonable time for you to load that video. Will it load eventually? Yes, but it takes like 15, 20 minutes, and then it'll only play like a few seconds and then it'll stop. So video playback is still a no-go. Now, I was able to send tweets. I was able to reply to tweets, posts on X without problem. For whatever reason, that went through quick. Even if I had like pictures attached, and I was sending pictures through the private messages, that was working. Took like 30 seconds. So that worked relatively quick, and I was quite surprised that worked as well as it did on the Wi-Fi connection. So all in all, I had a pretty, I guess you could say, decent connection. But if you want to do like movie streaming, movie watching, I still recommend you to download that before you get on the plane and watch those offline, because the video playback it's not going to work that well. Let's just put it that way. So that was the flight. The experience was solid. It was free, right? T-Mobile just offers that service to us. They don't have any control over how it performs. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's in no relation to T-Mobile performing bad. It's just the services that were offered, which was Intersat, and that's just, I don't ever see that getting any better. I see that, being for what it is, right? texting and then a little bit of scrolling, and that's all that connection is really good for. And I don't ever see that getting like where you can stream like full 4K on a flight. Maybe in the future, if there's some technology that they can implement, but as of now, I just don't see that getting drastically better. But who knows, right? Maybe that does get better. Who knows? But that was my experience using that connection. But like I said, T-Mobile is really just providing that value for free, but they don't control how the service performs. So then next, we landed at LAX. That was actually quite surprising. I'll be very honest. We landed and took off at a terminal that wasn't part of the main part of LAX, so we had to take a shuttle. And there, they did not have any DAS, but there was a macro within the solid range of those terminals, the smaller ones, that performed quite well. And you will see that in a video once I do the voiceover. 300 megabits, sometimes 4. And there I was able to download some content on Netflix and stream and play that content on the flight. Of course, offline, but I was able to download the episodes and stuff fast enough before like an hour before the flight in order to watch them on the plane. So it was a great performing area, and you'll see that on the video. And then when we got to the main part of LAX, we were kind of like levels below where we had to go upstairs. T-Mobile had DAS system with access points throughout the airport. So I'm assuming when they made that heavier investment for the Super Bowl that took place at SoFi, they really focused and invested at LAX, and they made great strides. I don't know how it performed before, so I can't give you a before and after. But what I saw, I mean, the network didn't break a sweat. I was getting 4, 5, 6, 700 megabits throughout the whole airport. At the bottom, when I was coming off of the shuttle, taking the elevator to the top, it was 4 or 5 bars all the time. Walking through like a little tunnel under, at the lower level. I took a picture of the DAS access point, then going up, again 5 bars all over. Even on the outside, leaving the airport, when waiting for the shuttle to the rental place, they had a DAS system in that area too, doing over a gig. So I think they invested for the airport. I mean, for the Super Bowl, and then they kept investing into that airport, and now it's rock solid. So of course I can only speak for the terminal that I was in. I was in Terminal 4, and then I crossed over to Terminal 5. That's the American Airlines terminal. But I assume, the Delta, the Southwest, all of those would have similar performance. I just don't see them signaling out, 2 terminals with that heavy of an investment, right? So that was great. I had the same experience at the airport when I did the departure, and then when I arrived, same experience. Even during the time of waiting for the flight to leave LAX, I was eating, streaming the national championship game, the women's national championship game on the phone without hiccups. So from that perspective, that was a great experience, and it would be for any other average consumer that ever hits that airport. So going to the areas, right, that I was in, I visited the Hollywood Walk, Crypto Arena. It performed great. It had its weaknesses. I will be completely honest. If I'm, since I'm summarizing, I've had some indoor weaknesses where I was at 1 to 2 bars, and the network kind of, I don't want to say collapsed, but it had its ping spikes, its jitter spikes. It still had speed, but it did have those spikes, and that's completely understandable. That's a very tough market to judge if you're an engineer, because it's already high in population. It's the second largest PEA in the United States. And then you have close to 40% share of the millions of amounts of people that are in that area. And that's just not LA, that's Orange County Anaheim and everything else that's around it. And then you have people that travel within, right? You never know, right? On this Sunday, all these people from Anaheim and Orange County are going to LA. So you got thousands more now in any given area versus previously. And then you have a lot of tourists and people that vacation there. So you got to take that into account too. So that's just kind of tough to really plan for. So I get it. I completely get it and understand. But still in all, T-Mobile had great density, even though they had some indoor struggles. Like I went to this cafe and indoor it wasn't that great. On the outside it was great, but indoors it didn't perform that well. It struggled. But what can you do? There is no perfect network. No Verizon, no AT&T, no T-Mobile will have the perfect network in any given area. So could T-Mobile possibly fix that indoor area with some further optimization? Perhaps. But I would say small cell or a new tower probably needed to really help that area and more signal indoors. Because I'm assuming automatically if it doesn't work in this part of the indoor building, then the next one next to it probably also weaker. So that's the way that I think when I see it not performing as great as what I have seen. So I think, okay, these other buildings probably aren't performing that well as well. So yeah, that's just some of the places that I visited. I went to the Santa Monica Pier, if I remember that right. Performed great there. They had millimeter wave. They had small cells. They had N41 small cells all along the pier. Performed great. 700, 800, 900 down all day. Now, one thing I do want to point out, even though they had the millimeter wave node at the pier, I was not able to connect to it. The phone preferred N41 in that area. Now, I airplane moded it once. I probably could have went into the settings and put the phone on NSA and maybe I would have connected to it, but I wasn't there long enough. I was just there to do quick testing. I did some video footage and then I was in and out. But regardless of the connection, it performed great. The average consumer is not going to go and oh, this is millimeter wave. Let me turn off NSA. Let me turn off SA. Put on NSA. Let me lock millimeter wave. The average consumer is not doing that. They just want the phone to work, and in that area, the phone is just going to work, regardless of if it's millimeter wave or N41. That's good. That's something that T-Mobile established, and for the average consumer, that will work. So all in all, to close out the video, T-Mobile performed great. No matter the rankings of the third-party testing, T-Mobile's churn shows you they are headed in the right direction. If they didn't perform as great overall as what I tested, and I racked up like 400 gigs in like 2 days. So that this month is going to be heavy on the usage, but I did extensive testing, and I will tell you the average consumer is going to have no problems in that area. Are there some areas that they struggle? As I mentioned, yes. But I fully expect that to be the same with Verizon and especially AT&T. AT&T around Anaheim and Orange County, probably a lot of indoor issues where it drops to 1 to 2 bars. I did not see a lot of towers for AT&T in that area. I'm telling you, I looked at their equipment. They are Ericsson in that market, and so is everyone else. And no. There wasn't a lot of AT&T. I tried. Trust me. I tried to look for their C-RAN. I even got pictures of T-Mobile small cells and Verizon millimeter wave small cells and macros. I could not hardly see any for AT&T. I saw like maybe 1 or 2 towers in the area that I was actually staying at the hotel, and that was an area where I saw like 10 macros for T-Mobile and like 6 for Verizon. I only saw 2 for AT&T, and they were like super spread out. One of them had C-band, the other one did not. I mean, I would not expect AT&T to perform its best in that area. And then going to LAX from Anaheim, again, I did not see a lot of AT&T equipment. I saw some, but not as much as what I saw with T-Mobile and Verizon. So I wanted to put that out as well, and I'll talk about that in in another video perhaps as well. AT&T, a lot of work to do in that area. Could I have missed some of that equipment? Sure, I could have, but the small cell C-RAN, I'm spotting them here, and if it's anything similar, I would have seen that in the area, and I just did not see it. I might have saw like one or two small cells for AT&T, but that was very, very few. T-Mobile, I saw a lot. Verizon, I saw a lot. AT&T, not so much. So just pointing that out, summarizing the trip. Great performance overall for T-Mobile. I hardly saw a speed test like below 100, maybe once or twice. The rest of the time, 500 plus, 300 plus, 700, 800, a gig, 1.2 gigs. I did not see anything higher than 1.2. I will point that out. I did not see 1.7, 1.5, 2 gigs. I did not see that. The highest speeds I saw throughout the weekend was 1.2 gigs per second. And again, that was plenty. Everything worked. Music streamed, voice was working. I did like a 3-hour phone call just to test it out. Everything worked as intended. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.